Hi, David. How you doing? I've got your banana up here, and thank you so much for kicking things off. You're looking really good. This is a great start. I do have a couple of comments I think that are going to make a lot of sense to you. I'll get that in 1 second. But the first thing I want to mention is I noticed that you had submitted your critique assignment, which is due Wednesday, and then you also submitted your final for week one, assignment one. Um, and to me, it would make a lot more sense to submit for critique, then compile all the comments that you get throughout the week, and then resubmit Sunday. That way you'll get all the points that you have coming. Do you see what I'm saying? So in other words, let's say you have a critical error in your assignment that you, not that you do, but let's say one has a critical error in the assignment they submit for critique. One could feasibly correct that error and resubmit by Sunday to avoid any sort of decrease in points based on that specific error. So to me, it makes sense to submit your work to critique, then hold off, compile all the comments, my comments, recommendations, etc., and those of your classmates, then compile those and apply those towards your final submission. Okay, I just want to mention that. But so let's go ahead and take a look at the work. All right, so we've got Banana set in Franklin Gothic book at 200 point. And I think that this is a good start. There's a couple of things I want to mention, though. We'll talk about kerning in 1 second. But the first thing I notice is that you don't necessarily have your cap line, your baseline, and your x height, your mean line. You don't have those. And we can see in the assignment, it says, draw a baseline, mean line, and cap line on the marker paper. Now, this is kind of strange because it doesn't indicate that you know where the cap line, mean line, and baseline is. What I would do is this, David. I would just set the B and an A, all right? And I would set that over here somewhere, right? Then I would draw out a straight edge. I would draw out the cap line, mean line, and baseline, make sure they're level, and then start over and draw out the word, okay? That way you have the baseline, mean line, and cap line. Or another thing that you could do is set a B and an A and maybe another A, and then just get those cap line, mean line, baseline set. Then use those lines, extend those lines out, and then use those lines to really create. And let me just give you an example of what I'm talking about. Okay, I've got Franklin Gothic set right here, but let's go ahead and take a look at the mean line. So I'm going to set the mean line right here at this A right here, and if we set that, we can see that your mean line, you've got some other letter forms that are hanging above the mean line. So that mean line isn't consistent. We can see the same thing conversely with your baseline, although it would be easier to see it like this. Okay, there's your baseline, the bottom of the A. Now you do have what's called overshoot, so the true baseline would be up just a little bit. But I'm just drawing that for demonstration purposes so we can see there is, and I'm using this as a straight edge, of course, but your ends don't reach the baseline. This A definitely doesn't. This N, and this A, they definitely don't reach the baseline. So you have some inconsistencies there. Okay, next let's take a look at the letter forms themselves. Now, Franklin Gothic book is a typeface that a lot of people do believe that was based off of Accidence Grotesque, which is basically Helvetica. And the thing that I'm seeing here is that you've got these bowls for your A's. They definitely have this teardrop that's indicative of Helvetica. But Franklin Gothic doesn't have that. It's got a tear shape, but it doesn't have this tail right here. So I would adjust that. Also, Franklin Gothic is definitely a typeface. It's a sans serif typeface. It's not a full geometric, so you have variation in your stroke widths. Okay, we can definitely and clearly see that right here where this portion of the A is much thinner than this portion of the A. We don't see that indicated in your work here. Right here now, it looks like you've got some areas that are thinner right here, for example, but that wouldn't be an area that's specifically indicated. So I would address that area right there, okay? Also, if you take a look at the top of the A, yours is more rounded, and as it says, this is not a true geometric sans serif, so that wouldn't be round. Gill Sans, maybe even Futuro might be more rounded, but this is more oblong. So definitely wanted to let your letter forms indicate that as well. The N and the B look pretty good. I think you've got a little bit of area, that negative space right there. You can see it's a little bit greater. The N in Franklin Gothic is a lot wider than your N. The open space in that bowl right there is a lot wider. So I think that's the main thing. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the leading. Okay, leading looks pretty good, pretty consistent. However, there are some issues. I think the B and the A are too far apart. All right, then you've got if the distance between this A, and this N is greater than the distance between this A and this N. Okay, so I would work on those areas. This space right here needs to get closed down a little bit. These two spaces right here need to be consistent. Your spaces between the N and the A are pretty consistent, so I'm not so concerned there. Okay, so that in a nutshell is what I would work on for your resubmission for Sunday. If you have any questions, comments, or other, please feel free to let me know. Thanks, David.